So let's talk about Kill Team Pariah Nexus, perhaps one of the most unhelpful Games Workshop releases in quite some time. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where today we're talking about how to get our hands on heavy Intercessors, Flayed ones and other characters, and this fairly questionable release of a big Kill Team box containing all of the above. We'll talk about its price and rumoured release date, break down whether or not I think that the box is a good deal at these rumoured prices, why I think it's quite an annoying release for people who did want to get their hands on these miniatures, and discuss the best options for getting our hands on things like heavy Intercessors. So first up, I'm sure a lot of people are already aware, but Kill Team Pariah Nexus is a big box set containing Flayed ones, heavy Intercessors, a Chronomancer and a Space Marine Captain. All of these miniatures were shown off as new releases quite a long time ago now, but weirdly, unlike all of the other Space Marine and Necron releases, they've all been bundled into one big box together as opposed to being released as individual kits yet. Warhammer community has said it's up for pre-order on the 27th of February, so fairly soon, and that at some point all of these kits will be released individually, but this will be the first place that anyone can get their hands on them. Prices do seem to have been leaked across the internet. I still say that these are rumours at the moment, seeing as they haven't actually gone up for sale, but people are talking about numbers of £95, $160 or 125 euros for the set. Obviously if it does turn out to be way cheaper than that, then that will be good, but I suspect that that sounds about right. So here's what you get in the box: the Space Marine Captain with heavy bolt rifle, 5 heavy Intercessors that will be the full kit where you can change out all the bolt rifles and different heavy bolters, a Necron Chronomancer and 5 Necron Flayed ones. In addition you get a whole ton of small bits of Necron terrain, lots and lots of doorways and barricades, and a double-sided game board thing that you can play Kill Team on, aimed to be set in a more claustrophobic underground environment. You also get a rulebook for Kill Team Pariah Nexus and 34 objective cards. I know there will be plenty of people who are looking out for this to buy it for Kill Team, but there's lots and lots of people out there who just want to get this to play in actual games of Warhammer 40k. In particular, I know that the heavy Intercessors are a really anticipated kit. There are a lot of people who want to add them to their army, and I've seen several people drafting lists that contain 3 or more squads of these. To have them bundled into a £95 purchase where you might not want all the rest of it isn't really all that helpful. Currently, it's a little bit difficult to say whether it's a good deal for the actual miniatures inside it. All of these models are new, and we can make estimates based on similar things. I would say a lot of these guys don't really have that many direct equivalents. We can estimate the Gravis Captain and the Chronomancer quite well. The Gravis Captain is likely to be very similar to his Primaris Captain counterpart, and I'm sure the Chronomancer will be the same cost as the Psychomancer at £21 or $35. I'm a bit less certain about the heavy Intercessors. I would say they're going to be somewhere between the cost of an Aggressor squad, £30 or $45, or perhaps the same cost as the Assault Intercessors that were £36.50 or $60. There are only 5 of them, not 10, but they are equipped in Gravis armour. I certainly hope that they might be at the lower end of that price scale when they do come out, but it's hard to say. As for the Flayed ones, again I'm a bit less certain of these guys. The old kit was £27.50 or $45, and it seems likely that Games Workshop might up the price a bit with new miniatures being released for them. I've pegged them at £30 or $50 as an estimate. Overall, it does seem that the combined price of the miniatures that Games Workshop sells them for will be at least somewhat equivalent to the cost of the whole box all put together, if anything maybe a little bit more than the cost of the box. Going at the slightly higher end of my estimates, it would say that you get around about a 12% discount on the models, though it may be a bit less if the heavy Intercessors wind up being cheaper. To be honest though, it's really not much of a discount, and it's kind of made a bit redundant from the way that almost no players will want every single one of these units, and not in the exact proportions that they are sold here. I know in addition to that you will get all the pieces of Necron terrain, which I'm sure will have some resale value for people wanting to use them as barricades, and I'm sure some people will make good use of them. I just feel though for the average hobbyist, particularly Space Marine collectors who wanted to get their hands on those heavy Intercessors, getting a whole load of random bits of Necron terrain, particularly underground ones that don't fit in on the battlefield quite as well, isn't exactly going to be the thing that they're going to be the most enthused about. So while it might not be such a terrible deal for the actual miniatures inside, I think it's more the fact that they're all bundled together that makes this really unhelpful and quite annoying. If you did say want to have a battle line of heavy Intercessors, 3 squads of 5 for example, if you did just wind up buying this box multiple times to get them, you're going to be left with loads of characters left over, and tons of bits of Necron terrain that you didn't really want if you just wanted these squads. Even if you did quite like having the Gravis Captain included, I think it's kind of unlikely that most people would want to go out and get 3 of the exact same monopose miniature. Even Space Marine players aren't going to want 3 of the exact same guy for the most part. For the Necrons, I would argue that Chronomancers are one of the strongest HQ choices out of the lot, but again I think that people are more likely to just want 1 of them, maybe 2 at a push, and certainly no more than that. Again, not very helpful if you're wanting to field big squads of Flayed ones, which can be really quite effective in huge squads of 20 to make the most of reanimation protocols. And again, if you did want to field a big squad of those, you might need 4 boxes of this, and then be left with an absolute ton of things to either try and make use of or resell. Again, I'm sure there are plenty of people who will make really good use of that terrain and it will be really helpful for them, but I'd estimate that at least half of people, if not more, will have little to no use for it, and will either just not bother with it or resell it on eBay. Overall, as a release, I think that this is really just unhelpful for people trying to get their hands on the actual units, and I hope they don't wait too long before releasing the individual kits on top of this. So the question remains, what are the best options if you do want to get your hands on any or all of the models in this box? For me, there are kind of 3 different options: either buy the full kit, buy individual kits off eBay, or wait until they're released separately. If you buy the full kit yourself, you can either use everything yourself or try and make use of everything. A lot of people aren't too adverse to buying a few random 40k miniatures if they are quite cool looking and fun, even if they're not necessarily the exact ones that they might have chosen. Otherwise, you can try and split the kit with someone else, say between a Necron and Space Marine player, or you can do a bit of eBaying yourself and sell off all the bits that you don't want, and hopefully be left with the ones that you did at a reasonable price. Reselling things does take a bit of time and effort though, and it's not something that everyone's going to want to bother with. If you were thinking about picking up the kit and aren't really all that bothered about the heavy Intercessors though, I do expect that they're going to be going for quite a lot online. Otherwise, you could maybe try and take advantage of other people doing the exact same thing. I'm sure that industrious people will be buying the kit and then selling all the individual models on eBay separately, and whether or not that's a good deal will depend on how many of these Games Workshop has made. If Games Workshop has made enough so they don't sell out, and that people can get their hands on as many as they want, then market forces will make them go for a reasonably fair price for how much they're worth. If however Games Workshop doesn't make enough of these, and they sell out quite quickly, basically they're going to be going for scalping prices on eBay, where there's literally no other place to get them besides from people who have bought lots of copies of the kit, and that'll mean that they'll be a terrible deal as they'll go for incredibly high prices. I'd hope that the former happens rather than the latter. Finally, the third option is to wait for the kits to be released separately, which again is a bit annoying to have to do as we're not sure when they're actually going to be released. Games Workshop haven't given us any clues as to this so far. I'd guess it could be anywhere between 1 and 4 months following the kit. Perhaps though, if enough people contact Games Workshop to express their desire for the kits to be released individually, it's not impossible that they might bow to public pressure and maybe even release them just a little bit earlier than they were planning to, if it does stop people being quite so annoyed at them. They did change their plans on the Indomitus sale, so it's not impossible that they might with this. So anyway, let me know what you think of the kit, and whether or not you could justify buying any part of it at those rumoured prices. I'll certainly be interested to have a read of your thoughts down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where we'll certainly be keeping up with Games Workshop's releases, in addition to our normal 40k Tactics content. Finally, if you have been enjoying the videos and you'd like to help support the channel, I would just like to mention that I have a Patreon page which you can find down in the video description below. Making all of these videos does take a fair amount of time, and if you are watching regularly, any support is massively appreciated. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages. They get to see certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and also automatic entry to the monthly prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits every month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support the channel, then the link is down in the video description below. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.